The meeting between Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari and U.S. President Donald Trump is underway at the White House on Monday. The White House says President Trump is looking forward to discussing ways to enhance the strategic partnership between the U.S. and Nigeria, a country of almost 200 million people, and to advance their shared priorities, which include promoting economic growth and reforms, fighting terrorism and other threats to peace and security, and building on Nigeria's role as a democratic leader in the region. Nigeria has been plagued by extremist group Boko Haram, which launched an insurgency 9 years ago with the aim of creating an Islamic state. Tens of thousands of people have been killed and hundreds of schoolgirls have been kidnapped. The terrorist group poses one of the most severe threats to West Africa's Sahel region in recent years. The White House says America's relationship with Nigeria is deep and strong, and Nigeria's economic growth, security, and leadership in Africa will advance the mutual prosperity of both nations. For more insight on the meeting between President Trump and President Muhammadu Buhari, let's go to VOA's William Gallo, who is standing by live via Skype from the White House. Bill, now President Buhari has just arrived at the White House. Can you tell us a little more about what transpired as soon as he came in?
Yes, he just did pull in here to the White House. President Buhari greeted Mr. Trump. We couldn't actually hear what they said when they greeted, but later on there was a short public comment period there at the beginning of their meetings. President Trump praised the relationship between Nigeria and the U.S. He also said that talks would focus on terrorism. Now, it's a beautiful day here in Washington, and later on they'll actually head out to the Rose Garden for a press conference. We'll get some more comments there. But this is seen as sort of an attempt to reset the relationship between Trump and not only Nigeria, but also Africa in general. Of course, Trump was reported to have made those vulgar remarks about Africa in January. Before that, he actually made some comments also about Nigeria in specific in relation to what he said were reported to have said Nigerians living in huts. So this is sort of a chance to reset that relationship, focus on positive things and mutual goals between the two men.
Indeed, moments to fix things here. Now, Buhari is the first African president to be invited to the Trump White House. Why him?
Well, I think Nigeria is important on its own terms, not only as an African country. I mean, this is, of course, the most populous country in Africa, 186 million people. It has a very quick, very fast-growing economy. And it wants to buy more U.S. weapons. Of course, the Trump administration last year, actually, or early this year, approved the sale of a $600 million weapons deal to Nigeria. Nigeria was very happy for that. It wants more. That deal had actually been held up by the Obama administration because of human rights abuse allegations. But the Trump administration, by all appearances, wants to move ahead with that and possibly other deals. But let's see what's announced.
Now, we know that, of course, the agenda on the table is security and also economic issues. But some wonder, is this all about Nigerian interests or more about the United States interest in the region?
It's a great question. Whenever Trump meets with world leaders, he typically does talk about security and trade, and he will tout, the benefits for that country. But what he'll also do, especially in relation to weapons deals, is talk about the benefits to the U.S. His common refrain is sort of jobs, 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 and we have the best weapons, things like that. He almost acts as a salesman in these instances, is what a lot of reporting has said on these instances. Now, like I say, the Trump administration has actually been willing to overlook some of these human rights abuse allegations. And the Nigerian government, of course, it says these abuses are sporadic and not systematic, and therefore shouldn't be subject to these U.S. laws prohibiting the U.S. government from making these weapons deals. But, for Buhari, this is also an issue of domestic politics. This is a U.S. leader who has said some controversial things about Africa and about Nigeria in particular. He is up for re-election next year, and he has to sort of navigate between, these security and trade deals and actually, being seen as handling the situation with Trump very carefully, too.
Yep. Well, Bill, thank you. Thank you very much for your excellent reporting. Definitely a lot to expect from that meeting at the White House. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And that's VOA's William Gallo reporting live via Skype from the White House.